Today in history, being August the 3rd of 1964, a reggae music legend, Lucky Dube, was born. He would have turned 61 today had it not been for the tragic death on 18th of October in 2007 when he was murdered in what has been described as a hijacking gone wrong. His death that year, killed during a hijacking outside his Johannesburg home, was both shocking and tragic. Millions of South Africans mourned the unnecessary death of a true music legend. Born in Ermelo, Mpumalanga, Dube found his love for music in school choirs and short-lived Mpaqanga garage bands before becoming a Rastafarian and dedicated reggae musician. We have asked his son, Thokozani Dube, to speak to us this evening to reflect. Thokozani, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. I mean, your father, the late legendary musician to the world, would have turned 61 years today. As you reflect, what is the family sentiment? I mean, how are you looking back on his life and celebrating it?
Yeah, so firstly, thank you for inviting me. Yes, today would have been his 61st birthday. As the family, it's always been a difficult day, because in as much as, we remember him, it's always difficult that he had to leave in such a way that he did. But we usually reserve this day just to celebrate, really, in whatever manner that we can. Last year was his 60th and we were all home, and we had a bit of a party, so to call it, in his honor, of course. And this year we are a bit far apart, so we're all celebrating in all corners of the world that we are in currently. The band as well. The band is going to Madagascar and they're celebrating it there as well. So, yeah, it's just celebrations all around.
As you talk about the band, I mean, is that one way to just honor his legacy? Talk to us a little bit more about, that band and the reason behind it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. When my father passed, obviously he had the band that he was working with, and after he passed on, I sort of took the reins on that to say, okay, let the band continue playing, because we can't just let this man's memory die. We can't let this man's music die. We can't let the messages that he left just disappear. So we continued with the band, and initially I think we all had our own different issues. It hit us quite heavily, and we ended up saying, guys, let's give it a break. But we have recently come back. I think for the past 2 years, we've been pushing solidly, doing international tours and just revivifying that Lucky Dube name and all that Lucky Dube, all those messages, So it's part of definitely keeping his name alive and his legacy alive.
And how have you found that perhaps a much younger generation are now reflecting the elements of his style, his music, his songs? In your observations, what have you found?
Yeah, look, I think music always changes, right? But I think for his particular style, it was always about keeping the message. I mean, I'm also guilty of sort of changing things a bit with the music, but it's the message that's important. So I think even with the upcoming artists and the younger guys, as long as they ensure that they've got a positive message for society, a positive message for the world, then it's all good.
And what about the relevance of his lyrics? I mean, there was a lot about justice, freedom, a really optimist perspective and unity. How do you think that message and those messages hold in today's society as we reflect on the challenges of today?
Yeah, I think they're still very much relevant. I think anywhere in the world that you look up at things, his messages remain relevant. It's as if some people say he was a prophet, because of some of the things that he spoke about back then in his music are taking place now. So you think songs that come to mind are like songs like "Truth in the World," right? And these reign true, in every country around the globe. So his messages are still very relevant, which is what I think actually cements his place in history and in the genre. To say, he came and he was able to sort of put into music things that are happening, at that time, that are happening now and probably in the future, and he was able to convey those messages through his music.
As we reflect on his birthday, at least what would have been his birthday had he still been alive today, how do you think his legacy has transformed over the years in terms of how, his music has been appreciated, enjoyed, and the reaction that you've gotten with the band, with the fans who remember and resonated with him so much?
Yeah, no, look, it's been crazy because, wherever we go, firstly, the fans are always just over the moon that we actually there to come and perform, their legends' music. And I think what always stands out for me is how they always share, what the music meant to them individually, and for him to be able to connect with fans on an individual basis, that's something really powerful. In terms of the rest of the legacy, it has really transformed a lot. Because, typically I think we would be looking at his legacy just from a musical perspective, but, working with other people and other departments. For example, the Department of Education, there's now a School of Arts in Mpumalanga in his honor, which still then speaks to the type of things he was fighting for, education, unity, and all of that, So, it's really taking great shape.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us and sharing your story, speaking there and wrapping up with reggae music legend Lucky Dube's son, Thokozani Dube, as he speaks to us about how the family is, celebrating and resonating and reflecting on the legendary musician's 61st birthday today.